My name is Cliff Young, and I've been in the specialty coffee business more than 25 years. I've traveled the world learning and teaching everything about coffee from bean to cup. I invite you to join me as we travel the globe to meet the unique characters and personalities that make specialty coffee truly special. The Coffee Traveler is brought to you by Café Calabria, San Diego's premier coffee roaster for over 25 years. More information available at cafecalabria.com. Go Coffee Go. More information at gocoffeego.com. Intercontinental Coffee Trading. More information at ictcoffee.com. And Coachella Valley Coffee. More information at coachellavalleycoffee.com. Additional support provided by and viewers like you. And here we go. We're heading to Tegucigalpa, the capital city of Honduras, to meet up with a few of my coffee friends. And then we're all going to head deep into the coffee growing regions where they've been growing coffee since 1799. Honduras is now the third largest producer of coffee in the world, right behind Brazil and Vietnam. During the harvest season, the coffee industry employs 1 million people, meaning that about 20% of this country's population depends on coffee for their livelihood. And we're going to hang out with some of the coolest ones. Part of the fun part about traveling to Origin to visit the coffee farms is stopping in these little towns. We're in Villa de Angeles, which is right outside of Tegucigalpa, Honduras, at a little craft market. So this is where you go to find all your cool little leather goods and trinkets, but also find some of the best food in the world at these little cafes. So follow me, we'll go in. As I mentioned, one of the cool things about stopping at these little roadside towns is you meet the locals. This is Gene Medina. This is his little store, but he also grows coffee. Right across the street, we're gonna go look at it, but let's open a bag of your coffee. Where's your coffee at? Okay. Is there anything better though than meeting the coffee guy that grows 50 yards away?
Roasted, okay.
Look at those beautiful beans. Good job. How many bags, how many kilos do you grow?
About 1,500 pounds per year.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing it?
For about 7 years.
7 years?
Yes.
You look pretty good for 25 years old. No, very good. Beautiful coffee. Smelled great. Now we're going to go visit a coffee mill, or beneficio, which in layman's terms is a processing plant that turns ripe coffee fruit into green coffee beans. The plant we are visiting on this trip is a wet processing operation where water is used to clean or strip the pulp from the coffee bean. This is the farmer over there. He just brought in, this is his crop. Okay. This just shows how this industry is, from the smallest to the small. People that produce millions of pounds a year. But these guys are the best. This is Miguel. We just watched his coffees being unloaded from the truck. It was about 1,900 pounds of cherries. I think by my calculation, that's probably going to be $300 or $400 of finished product. But this is his crop, and he's a proud farmer. Very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, take a dark one. They're sweeter.
It's kind of like a cherry or kind of like a grape too, with a big tip.
Yeah, just
Wait a minute,
just
it's a
don't eat the
coffee bean.
seed.
It's a coffee bean.
Yeah, just spit the seed out.
Es que le están preguntando 100,000 preguntas.
Code enforcement officer for this project. Look at these cats. So a couple of minutes ago you saw the farmer bringing his coffee. We weighed it, dumped it into these grates. It goes through this milling process, which is just a really big grinder set on a big setting to remove the pulp from the coffee bean. This is the pulp now, or the coffee cherries, after they've been removed. Ago you saw the coffee being dumped into the large grate. After it's milled, which is just squished through these little blades and the pulp comes off, The beans are coming down here, and this is going to be the real start of the processing process. So right now they're just scooping it through these different bins, and it's going to end up on the concrete patios that we're going to see in a couple of minutes. Now what you see over here is this is the coffee beans after they've removed the cherry or the pulp. They're bagging it up here, and then it's going to head over to the patios where it's going to dry out for a bit, because right now that coffee, we added more water to it, so it's very, very wet. That coffee that we saw out on the patios drying a little bit, that was just to remove some of the wetness that we added by washing the cherry off. We're dumping the coffee in these big dryers. This is just a huge clothes dryer or a grain dryer, and it holds tons of coffee. We're drying it down to about 12% moisture, and when it's at 12%, that's what I get as a coffee roaster in those big burlap bags you see sitting around. That's what comes to us. So that's this whole process. This whole room is just full of these large dryers. Now this is the owner of this farm or finca. ¿Cómo te llama?
Manuel Cardoso.
Manuel Cardoso. Now, how many years have you owned this farm?
¿Cuántos años tiene su finca? ¿Puede explicar su finca y su papá?
Sí, hace 40 años. Mi papá, Pedro Cardosa,
40 years?
él
Sí.
compró este terreno.
He bought the farm.
He
Ajá.
bought the terrain.
Yo tenía
sí.
10 años y empezamos en ese tiempo a cultivar este terreno.
And let you know, we've been on hundreds of farms, and this is one of the happiest farms as far as the trees. I've never seen trees so full of coffee, and we found out that his trees produce, normal coffee tree produces about a pound of coffee. His are producing 5 pounds of coffee because he's treated the trees right. I didn't realize I was being put to work.
Good.
They are super delightful.
It's good. Did you? He needs more string. Needs an extender string. Here, come look at this shot over here.
Okay. Should we each take a different tree?
Uh-huh.
Este no,
No.
No,
Es-
no, yeah.
solo así.
Solamente rojas.
Solo rojas, okay.
Only red.
Solo rojas.
No.
I think he thinks I'm gonna fill up this whole bag.
So do they check your fingers before they give you the job?
Check back in a week.
I don't think
There's
so.
bugs on here.
I like bugs. Bugs get a bad
I don't mind
name.
bugs. This is just a different coffee, but these are ripe. And you, I don't know if you noticed, let me break this one open. Every
Hard to get 'em off.
coffee cherry has 2 coffee beans, unless if you see one, it's called a pea berry. They're little rounder ones, but most of these cherries always have 2. That's a green coffee bean. Looks kind of white, but it really is green. Another interesting fact about coffee farmers and what they're doing with their trees. If you look at this tree, the stump is very thick. This is an old tree, it's about 9 years old, but they cut it down about a foot from the ground, just a stump, and then let new branches start. And the reason is because a coffee bean will only grow at one spot in the branch. Once it grows here, it's done. It'll start going out, out, out. And as the branch gets longer, the trees get heavy and they'll tip over. So the farmers cut them back down to about a foot high and start new stems or new branches. So this will extend this tree another 10 or 15 years. Very smart farmer.
Hay bastante frijol con tres en un cereza.
Muy poco.
Very few.
Very few.
Sí, solo
Es
dos.
un defecto. No, es un, ¿cómo se dice?
Sí, sí, o sea, porque no es uniforme la...
They
como
just
dijera.
aren't uniform.
Y esa es como triángulo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's kind of at a triangle.
No, esa es...
Ah.
La que está bien es esta.
Es,
Esa
el
no.
sabor es lo mismo.
Sabor igual.
I don't know if you can see the ends.
So
What do
no
you
es
want?
un problema.
No,
They're
no.
almost pointy where the
interesante.
three were stuck
no,
together
no
in
hay
a
ningún
perfect
problema.
little circle
roja y
instead of
amarillo.
flat like a normal
Igual.
coffee bean.
Sí.
I'm gonna walk out. I'm tired. I think they're laughing at my production.
That's hard to
Before we headed out to see how this coffee is dried, Manuel surprised us with a beautiful song.
Finca La Victoria te da la bienvenida a este lugar, en esta Honduras. Hermanos visitantes, bienvenidos, bienvenidos a este lugar.
I know throughout this week we've seen a couple of different coffee drying operations, these big wood-fired tumbling coffees. This is the real newest sustainable operation. This is a solar coffee bean dryer. So let's go inside and look what's going on. And I'll show you. Right now this coffee is in parchment, which means it still has the skin on it. So this is one more step in the processing. Some people get it with it on it, but mine comes without, and now it looks like a green coffee bean. Who knew? And now let me show you a honey washed coffee, which is on the top rack. Man, big difference in the warmth, huh? What a big difference. Thank you very much for sitting with us, Omar. Now, we had the pleasure of staying at your property. This small little, I guess we'd call it a boutique hotel or cabins. What a beautiful property, because we were there last night. It was raining, but we're upstairs on this covered patio playing pool. So I'm texting my daughter. I said, I'm in Honduras, in the rain, playing pool. And she texted me back. She said, good life you live. But it's a beautiful property. But we wanted to get together with you and talk about, one, a little bit of your history. You've been in coffee how long?
My whole life. I mean, 37 years, basically.
And that's how old you
We
are.
grew up in the coffee plantation.
Now, your mother, what is her history in coffee in this area?
My mother, my grandfather gave that piece of land to her. And yes, we work as a family, together to develop the farm.
Now, how big is the farm?
It's 5 manzanas for
Five
that time.
manzanas. It's owned by your mother.
Yeah.
So it's a woman-owned farm.
Yes.
And so you guys have the farm, the small hotel with great food. We've eaten there 3 times now. Very, very nice food. And then the Beneficio. And that's
Yeah.
where we're now. I see we have a coffee education lab.
Yeah.
We have a cupping lab. And you have some very well-trained baristas. I think one of your baristas won a couple of awards, right?
Yes, it's twice champion of Honduras, and we compete in Dublin and in Korea.
Wow,
Twice,
very
representing
good.
Honduras.
Because I saw a little piece of hardware over there. Show that hardware.
Yeah. Let's put here.
And the leaves even move. But now, back on your farm, we were out there today driving through it. What kind of coffee varietals are you guys growing?
I mean, Capucas start with Típica, which is the first variety that they came to Honduras. And then we moved to Caturra and Catuai.
Because I think Típicos originally came out of Jamaica and made their way over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of histories
Right.
behind. Yes, came from Ethiopia.
It's
Some
a
people
very
say that from
generic-
France.
It's a very generic coffee plant. You find them everywhere. But I know over the last decade we've had big problems with a fungus called the coffee rust, which if you drive by some trees, you'll see a coffee tree with a couple of cherries on it and almost no leaves because it just kills that plant. And now what are you guys doing to get rid of that rust?
I mean, in terms of this, we're doing a lot of things, but first change the variety.
Right.
Yeah, but the concern is you cannot change the variety quickly in terms if you don't hear the market because they want quality.
Right.
So we try to put the varieties that have quality. So
Right.
we make some tests and we found Parainema, for example, Obata, Icatu, some varieties that are on the branch of Sarchimor. So the quality is better and is against rust or rust resistant.
So they're naturally resistant against that coffee rust.
And we have good results in the cup. So we're very happy to.
And I think the important part, and I want what people to realize is when a lot of times when we think of coffee farmers, especially when we're thinking of coffee farmers in Mexico, Nicaragua, with that, we're thinking very uneducated. Every farmer I've ever met is very, very smart. You know, they understand the soil, they understand the weather. They are intelligent human beings. But your crops, I've never seen farms that grow so much coffee on a shrub. You know, the average tree will produce a pound. I mean, you guys are putting out 5 pounds of coffee on these trees, and that just means you're taking care of that plant. That plant is very happy.
I think the good thing with our culture here, the coffee culture in Capucas, is that even with the crisis of price, disease, many things that we face, many problems that we face, people don't leave coffee.
Right.
You can see in other areas, let's say Santa Barbara and other places, that if the price is down, they leave and put cows, for example. But here in Capucas, people always think about coffee,
They just keep doing it.
And they live there, so they have their house there, so it's part of their life.
Yeah.
So that's why you see coffee plantation that they take care of that.
And
To face all the challenge that we have now with this global warming, that supposedly, for example, in December we have rain and then don't rain, and then in January that was summer, supposedly it start to rain and then damage the harvest.
January, February is your picking season.
Yeah.
So let's get on that global warming.
Yeah.
How is that affecting? I would tell you, because when I was in Nicaragua in March, they just finished harvest, but it was so warm, boom, blossoms were back on the trees, and the farmer's just shaking her head because you're going to lose that because it's going to go back to cold.
Yeah.
So you've just lost your next crop.
Yeah.
And the point was, she said, if somebody in the U.S. doesn't believe there's global warming, come here and look.
Yeah, actually, there are some studies that say that a lot of varieties are in danger now because of the global warming. And you can see now in Honduras that the coffee that was planted in the lowest altitude, for me, will be disappear in maybe 1 or 2 years.
Really?
Because they face more troubles than us. Because now in the mountain, maybe we increase the production, but still we have problem with global warming.
Right.
Because it's warmer than in the past. This place used to be more cold,
Right.
you know, because we live in the mountain. So everything is changing. So we have to adapt these farmers. So now we are working with a university in the U.S. Can I mention?
Yeah, of course.
Texas A&M.
Wow.
They are making some studies here and also have small areas that they are testing some new varieties like Centroamericano, Marsellesa. So to show to the farmers that they can put these new varieties on the farm, keeping quality but production with the new condition that we have. So things like that. Also applying biochar, also that for us was new here, but you know now is very famous in terms of agriculture and also for composting. So with them, we want that academy make studies to help the farmers to adapt to the global warming.
I don't think people realize that right behind rainforest, coffee fields, coffee farms are the most biodiverse or biodynamic places for birds and wildlife. They're all living in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to take care of
Yeah.
coffee
For example,
farms.
we have some farms that are beer friendly.
Yeah.
So we have a study different between a farm that have shade and one that don't have anything.
Right.
So and you can see the difference in quality,
Yep.
but also in the life that are on the farm.
I think it really boils down to you guys have figured it out that it's education.
Yeah.
First,
Yeah.
we're going to get educated, then come back, and God bless you for coming back
Yeah.
and taking care of your community because the coffee is awesome. So, can I do this? I haven't made drinks on espresso machine for probably a decade since I owned my coffee houses, but your coffee is beautiful. Let me make you a drink. Can I do that? And then we'll go look at some bees.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, come on in. Stand here. Let me show you
Okay.
how the old timers do it.
You are the expert.
I don't know about that, but I have trained a few baristas in my days. I actually had one of my first baristas was on the Food Network 20 years ago,
John.
and we still get to see it. And any barista will know the steps I just went through.
You know that Lourdes trained, the barista that she trained and wins twice, the champion of Honduras, only have 1.5 years of experience.
That's impressive.
Talking about the opportunity that people need.
And see what I look for this is, I really want this to come out like
Yeah.
honey. Then once it stops, I'm good. Now my milk, I should have a thing of cold milk sitting right here. I'm just gonna make you a little espresso macchiato, which is really just a shot of espresso marked with milk. Sorry. Yeah, I killed that one. She's laughing off camera because she heard all the noise. Oh, that was just the most embarrassing milk I got. No texture. You're gonna pretend it looks really good.
Ah.
The milk doesn't
Beautiful.
have to look good. You know, the thing about milk, like we had a drink earlier made by one of your people. Milk textured correctly, it sweetens up, those natural sugars come up.
Yeah.
But you got to start with good coffee. Thank you very much for having us here.
It's a pleasure.
While deep in the coffee growing region of Honduras, we met a group of American Rotarians who have done some really cool projects over here. One was the Las Mercedes Water and Sanitation Project. The project provides safe drinking water, improved sanitation, and better hygiene to the residents of Las Mercedes, which is a community of 310 families in Comayagua, Honduras. The project included the construction of a new water storage tank and installation of a water treatment plant and community water tap stations. A reliable water source was identified at the top of the hill. A 13,000-gallon water tank was constructed downhill from the water source. New piping installed connecting the water source to the water tank. A chlorinating water purification system that meets World Health Organization standards and is maintained by the residents of Las Mercedes. Community tap stations provide access to and control the treated water. The project also included new toilets and community hygiene training. The second amazing project that these Rotary clubs have been doing for years is called Operation Footprint. Operation Footprint provides training, medical equipment, and supplies needed to enable doctors in Honduras to diagnose and treat children who have deformities due to untreated clubfoot. Each January, my friend Dr. Robin and a medical team from the United States travels to Honduras to perform surgical procedures that will correct or mitigate the impact of clubfoot on children in Honduras. The Hospital San Felipe supports the project with staff, equipment, and 4 operating suites. The Operation Footprint surgeons train local doctors in surgical procedures to correct clubfoot conditions and conduct in-service demonstrations so that local doctors can identify and treat clubfoot early with non-invasive methods. Both of these projects are funded and supported by Rotary clubs in California and Honduras and the Rotary Foundation, and we should all thank them. Of course, my work is never done. Sometimes I have to stop traffic just to save Armando, my newest crew member. Over the years, especially the last couple of years, we hear nothing good about Honduras. Whether it be the national media or from politicians, all we hear is how dangerous this country and the people are. Well, folks, all we found in Honduras were extremely proud and hardworking people who were very kind and giving. I met many very interesting people on this trip, and the cool part is I get to add them to my list of friends. The Coffee Traveler is brought to you by Cafe Calabria, San Diego's premier coffee roaster for over 25 years. More information available at cafecalabria.com. Go Coffee Go. More information at gocoffeego.com. Intercontinental Coffee Trading. More information at ictcoffee.com. And Coachella Valley Coffee. More information at coachellavalleycoffee.com. Additional support provided by and viewers like you. Please visit us on social media. Of course, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and you'll find us on Instagram.
Bienvenidos, bienvenidos a este lugar. Bienvenidos.
Beautiful.